Hey everyone, welcome back to Mosh Shinobi, streaming also live on Hardcore Noise, which is going to be the new second channel for music. Hopefully, if it's allowed to stay up. So that's why we're on Mosh Shinobi today, just in case, because stay there. So, anyway, Stephen from the Stone Eye is joining me again. This is, I think, his third or fourth visit to
Third
the
time.
channel. Third
Yep.
time, yeah, to put up with my verbal babblery, good friend of the channel and show. And we're going to talk about the new EP today. If you are a fan of stoner rock, alternative rock, grunge, you'll definitely dig them. So, we are going to get into it for sure. So, the new EP, man, just dropped recently. First thing I want to jump into is just what's been some of the early responses like? Have you had some good feedback so far?
Yeah, fantastic feedback. I mean, it seems that people who like our music like it, and then people who don't, we're always kind of like spreading our tentacles out into different styles of music and different audiences. And the feedback's been fantastic all around. So
That's really good to hear, man. I mean, I've heard, we've talked about some of these tracks before. I really like the mix of, that of grunge and stoner rock tinted together, and then the closing track in the EP, which of course we'll get to in due course. Life O'Reilly, very different sound to the earlier tracks.
totally different.
Totally different, but I like that, man. It throws that curveball, doesn't it?
Yeah, you listen to the whole thing like fully through. You're like, oh yeah, I'm getting into heavy. Oh yeah. And then that thing comes on. It's like, it's like fucking carnival music. You know what I mean?
Wouldn't that be awesome to do live? They're all busy and then you just drop that in.
I'd love to do that live. Like I've been like I'm just like, we need to do this live. Just throw it in like right after the heaviest song in the set, just for like the laugh. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I love it when things like that happen, and you see the look of horror on people's faces as well. And it's like, what is
it? Bro, I brought out like my best leather jacket with all like my heavy metal stitches on either side. Yo, what the fuck? What the fuck's this? Dude, this is a little fruity. It's too fruity for me.
Dude, when I did, I know we get off topic a bit. When I used to do my radio shows back in the day, and I used to play loads and loads of noise, but sometimes I used to do these, what was it called? Wandering Moods. I used to do the Wastelands, and it was Wandering Moods. And Wandering Moods was basically an excuse for me to throw in absolutely anything. So, they'd be used to hearing something like, and all the blast beats, 100 minutes, and then all of a sudden, you'd have this complete curveball, and it's almost as if there was this syndicated migraine response around the world, instant migraines, and then heads exploding, like, what's going on here? But
yeah, like, I fucking hate this. What the fuck is this?
Yeah, what are you doing, dude?
You're fucking ruining the integrity of the music, bro.
Yeah.
These fucking patches don't lie, man.
Yeah, you're not. Yeah, or you'd get the one I always like. You get the responses like, "You're not true. You're supposed to keep it true."
yeah. It's just like all the fucking idiots being like, ah. It's just like,
no, man. It's Wandering Moods, and there's a clue in the title. We're gonna wander into different moods. So the one thing, actually, I'm going to start with this. We're going to. I do like the videos you do. So you've the video for Nothing Shall and By Any Means. I found this quite amusing because it's got like these really old school kind of TV clips, and then well, it looks like you've got the devil in the kitchen or something. Yeah, Devil Dog, which is quite well. That's a whole funny, and then you've got like the chef dude coming out. I found that really really hilarious actually. And then yeah, it's a good flow. So, I guess the thing I want to ask is, how long did it take to do that video, and who come up with the idea? Because there's even that line where someone says, "But there's one more ingredient." Spoiler alert: hooks and poops, BBQ turds. So man, it's hilarious. So how did you come up with that one, man?
So I initially had an idea where it was going to be like, the killer hot dogs from fucking Home Depot. We're going to chase us around. And then our drummer's like, oh, we've done like killer stupid objects chase you around. Like, let's change it up. And I'm like, how about we do a cooking show where like the main ingredient is poop. Or like it's so dumb. Oh, well, and I got it from like a I got it from like a TikTok trend, because there's like a little TikTok trend. There's like these guys going up to New York delis and be like, yo, can I have salami? And I put a big slab of poop on it. And I'm just like, yo, poop. Like, we're going to fucking do like a poop video. So like from there, it just evolved. And pretty much we just ad-libbed the whole video. And it only took a couple hours.
Really? Whoa.
Yeah, I mean, I had to edit it. Editing it, you know, it took long. But like in terms of actually filming and like having an idea of what it was going to be, it was a couple hours.
It's even, dude, it's like a full-on skit, because you've even got like Devil Dog coming going, you know, all right, Jacob, and then you've got the clips of like this 1950 style audience laughing, and it's like, look what we have here, got the spatula and and honestly, man, I was absolutely in there's the just got it playing in the background as well again, and there's one clip where it goes back to the audience. I remember first time watched through, and it's like this dude's face, and in the honest, he's like yeah, and dude, I couldn't help think of like South Park and all those kind of shows. I mean, I love those shows as well, all the skits, and I sometimes I'm like that with humor, you know, they either get it or don't, and it has that vibe. And I thought, man, it certainly puts the alternative in rock. I should say for that.
Yeah, you got all these rock stars in like the 80s, like fucking like rocking on the big stage. In the 90s, they're all crying, and then you go to the 2020s and they're like singing about poop. You know what I mean? It's a duality of man. It's like, you know, the evolution of rock music. It's like, we sing about poop now. Yeah.
Regressive rock instead of the progressive. We're a regressive rock band.
Oh, dude, we're embracing our fucking inner like caveman over here.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, it was just like a very straightforward process. The editing, like, you know, like for example, the Devil Dog thing, right?
Yeah.
Like that just happened while we were doing it. I'm like, all right, I think like the host should wear a hot dog costume and a devil mask because it's funny. And then like, you know, the guy who's playing the hot dog, devil dog, whatever. He was like, when he was introducing us, like I like basically I had everyone like say like lines, like ad lib lines, so it'd be easier for me to like, you know, put the captions on it.
Yeah.
And he just like, and hello, it's Devil Dog, you know, and I'm like, Devil Dog, you know, there you go, you know.
Yeah.
And then also like Devil Dog too means Marine, so we were like, stolen valor, I guess. I don't know.
Oh yeah. There's one, yeah.
Oh, but I don't know. I thought it was just stupid and funny. So.
Well, you know, man, you knew as soon as I saw that I was going to ask you about it, being on this show, especially having very eccentric humor myself. I thought it was absolutely hilarious. One of the funniest videos. Oh no, I mean it, man. No, but it's one of the funniest videos I've seen in a while, because I'm used to seeing like, you know, if it's a hardcore band, I've got like their arms folded up.
Oh yeah.
You know, or it's still all death destruction or whatever, or there's some arty. I'm probably butchering the genres. I'm sure some art scholar can come up with all the terms for this. Yeah. And then we saw the video for this.
You want poop?
I was just like, dude, it reminded me of. I think I told you about this one of the times on before. I interviewed. Really good dudes as well. I interviewed this brutal death band from Montreal, and one of the songs was called Masturbated to Death. And when I would looked at that, I thought, how am I going to keep a straight face asking about this? And when you found out it was actually based on a real story of that's how some dude had suddenly gone out, I thought, man, what a way to go. Anyway,
was it one of those dudes that like would hang himself from the wall while like jerking off kind of thing?
Oh, I don't know. The craziest thing is I remember talking to them, and the guys were telling me, they said, as funny as all these titles are, we actually found the real world stories for them. And actually it was a dude over here, I think down in London, who'd got taken into hospital from, I'll just say, being very furious with oneself. And had, done himself in.
That heart attack.
Just oh man. So most unconventional interview of the day again, but folks are used to this, whatever. It goes with the stoner themes as well, folks. See, you can be stoned by nature as well.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, man. So I guess we'll come to the art before we get to the music as well. So this is quite a nice, and I don't mean this in a horrible sense here, but I feel it's like a simple, eye-catching cover. The Stone Eye question mark, nothing shall and by any means.
Mm-hmm.
You see the leaves in the background as well. Did you do this one again yourself?
I did, yeah. So, like the artwork, like started off as like an AI generated thing, and then from there, I just touched it up, added like a few design choices, and yeah. But it started off with like a core of like some like AI thing generating like the hand going like that, and then from there, like I built shit around it, and for like the text and like the I guess hollowed out text with the outlines, like I totally ripped off of Tiger Cub. They put out like a new like album recently, and their style was also like the hollowed out text. I'm like, I like that a lot. I'm gonna draw inspiration from that. Wink, wink. So I drew inspiration from a few things, and it just came out that way. So
yeah, it's nice, man. I like the whenever you've been on a show, I've always asked you about your merc as well. I mean, I do that with everyone in general, but I do like the particular I guess the art that you use for your merc. You've got again limited edition postcard vinyl. That looks very nice, man.
Thank you.
Obviously the EP, and this actually caught my eye. The Master of the Stone Eye coffee mug as well, because that's got like
it's Black Sabbath.
Yeah, it's got it's got a horror vibe to it as well. Like those old school horrors.
Yeah. Well, it was it's Master of Reality.
Man.
It's the fonts from that, and it's paying homage to it, like whatever. But like, so the thing is, like for the longest time, like stoner rock bands everywhere, they always do homages to either Volume 4 or Master of Reality. And I'm like, what's a good art, like merch design? I don't know. I'm thinking. I'm like, you know what? Like we always make jokes about how every other band does this. How about we do it right now? So I'm just like, all right, let's do it. It's kind of fun to make and see how close we can get it to the original. So
yeah, it looks nice, man. I like it. You've got the white tee and you've got the Master of the Stone Eye t-shirt as well, which is cool. So yeah, it's all good to see, man. I've just realised I forgot to stream to the new second channel. So, okay, folks, we are just on Mosh Shinobi. Next time you're on, we'll have you on the second channel.
Yeah. Is it time for me to whip out my fucking kung fu moves?
Yeah. Get it down, man. Listen, we've mentioned ninjas, we've mentioned kung fu, so it can come under the umbrella.
Yeah, it's your guys' first introduction to rock and roll music.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So, oh man, right. Try and contain myself a bit. So, I know we're kind of going to go over some ground here that we have on previous shows, but for those who may not have heard the band before or any of these songs, could you tell us a little bit about the opener, Raindrops? That certainly has the Alice in Chains vibe to it as well. Just kind of what inspired that song, how you first...
What inspired Raindrops?
Yeah.
What inspired Raindrops? Raindrops just came to me like over the course of an evening. I was jamming around, then I came up that intro, boo doo 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 doo, and then from there it was one of those songs that wrote itself, kind of. In regards to the lyrical themes, it's about longing, and I feel like the music video kind of conveys that with like the rainy backdrop and the zooming out like Star Warsy effect going on. And Raindrops was a song that came to me very quickly. I worked out the demo by myself, and I mean, it was kind of like didn't take many drafts to get the song to the final form, like kind of foray into writing. So
yeah, and I remember, folks, it's definitely worth checking out the video for Raindrops as well. It's really interesting, so you can find that on the Stone Eye YouTube channel. And the next one, etc. Again, could you just tell us a bit about how the idea came for that and just how you put the music together as well?
So etc. was a lot like Raindrops, where it was kind of, was jamming on like the main intro riff by myself, and I brought it to our former guitar player Christian, and then from there we worked out, the final arrangement. very indie rock, Radiohead inspired.
Mm.
Specifically the ending. The ending is a total, like, you know, in my head, a ripoff, but I mean, it doesn't really sound like it. But I think Jigsaw's falling into place. Like I was just like, I need to write an ending like Jigsaw's falling into place, and that's what happened. And then for the music video, you know, my love for retro video games, you know, made a Tecmo Bowl inspired, you know,
I remember
lyric
this
video.
one.
Yeah, Tecmo Bowl inspired lyric video that was, you know, met with positive reception just because of how bizarre it was, you know, for like a lyric video. But yeah, no, it was I mean, that's really how it came to be. Another like simple to the point, straightforward song. And yeah.
But you've always liked doing that, man. Stepping outside the box, you know, with your music, as we've seen with the Devil Dog video, and then with the Tenco football game video as well. I mean, I remember when we chatted about that, we had a sports nerd off as well. That caught my attention. I thought, oh, this is interesting. So it's good people are receptive to that, because I think with now there being so much music, so much saturation, I guess, it's quite hard to stand out. Because it's not always that the artist or band are necessarily bad. Sometimes they can just get lost in the shuffle. So I think anything that you've got that you can utilize to make you just slightly stand out. Well, slightly stand out. You want to stand out, but it helps you stand out or be a little bit different.
No, exactly.
It's a good thing, isn't it?
Yeah, no, exactly. And also too, like, you know, we're from Philadelphia. Like, Philadelphia is notoriously a sports town, so in a way, it's like kind of like connecting with, you know, your own fan base.
Yeah, I mean,
and like,
I mean, that tri-state area as well, the sports, you know, wrestling, baseball, football, everything, man. Hockey too. It's all absolutely massive. So the next track, another good grungy stoner rock feel before we get to now for something completely different section. The title track, Nothing Shall and By Any Means. Just, you know, again, for the folks that may not have heard you before, do you tell us a little bit about what inspired the title, the lyrics, when you first started recording the music for it?
So the title, starting off with that, I had like a little title based off of like a lyrical line, like, you know, like Pearl Jam Alive. It's like, oh, it's called Alive because, you know, he shrieks alive 800 times. So I had a title based like that, you know, and like I forget what it was. And then I brought it to our drummer Jeremiah, and then he was just like, he's like, how about we make it something interesting? And then Nothing Shall and By Any Means was a play off of like a biblical term. It's like nothing shall, and I forget the ending part of it, but it's like a play off of like a biblical term, and essentially it kind of gave off a vibe where it was like indecisive, and like you're like, you don't know if it happened, but if it does happen, like, you know, by any means it happens. And it kind of fit with like the lyrical like theme and the chorus and the delivery, whatever. It's kind of like, you know, wasting your time on something, and like, do you see it to fruition or not? So that's like, you know, the name and whatever. And then in regards to the songwriting process, started off with, you know, the intro riff, and we're like, oh, that's a cool riff. And then from there, like an hour later, like I ended up writing that verse riff, which became like the DNA of the song. And it was another one of those songs that, you know, really came together fairly quickly within like, you know, 3-4 hours. It was like, all right, we're done, you know. And, you know, I mean, those are like, honestly, like what I find to be the best songs, the ones that kind of just like flow naturally, and you're not like trying to like shove like a square piece into like a round hole, you know.
Yeah, I think when you're trying to force something, it somehow doesn't always come across quite as real, no matter what it is in the art form. Whereas you said, if it's natural, because that's just manifested there naturally, it just gives it a little more authenticity, like there's more of a realness to it.
And like, even like, you know, it's almost like a subconscious realness too, right? Because it's like when I'm jamming my guitar, I mean, it's all fucking real. I'm all strumming the guitar, you know what I mean? But like it just seems that like when you just like fall into like a little lick, and you play the lick, and then it leads to another part, you just fall into a part. It's like, it's like kind of like subconsciously that's like where you think it should go, and it just happens to go there, and it's like the perfect, like, you know, mental leading into the next part, you know, versus like overthinking, like, you know, how to write a song.
Yeah.
And then like trying to like shove random riffs together that don't really make sense. And then
Yeah,
you
yeah.
play them. Yeah. And then you play them with the band and you're like, I don't know about this, but like it does follow the keys, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that was pretty much it. It kind of just like a song, another song, like most of the songs on this EP just fell into place, you know?
Yeah.
And I mean, that's kind of the theme for the EP, really. Like minimal, like, you know, minimal like afterthoughts, like after like you wrote something, more so just like acting on instinct, being like, all right, this sounds good, like, you know, don't, what if it ain't broke, why fix it, kind of like vibe, versus trying to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, exactly, because sometimes bands can try and overcomplicate things too much. As you said, fix what doesn't need fixing, and then it ends up sounding like a bit of a mess, or actually totally different to that dude's original idea or dudette. So yeah, so the next one where we were talking about, you know, throwing in curveballs for people as well, dude. If you play this one live, you've got to tell us what the reaction was as well. Yeah, and then we'll have to talk about that in another episode, because man, it's going to be a funny one. So, Life of Riley. I remember I was reading about this, and I think he was saying this is like very much like a Bob Dylan inspired track. So it's got that vibe with the opening lyrics as well. If you think sitting around that campfire singing that same old
like
song,
very like straight to the point, almost autobiographical.
Yeah. So with that said, then, just the same again, Stephen, please could you tell us what the inspiration was for the title, what the lyrics are about, and just why you wanted to put on something different at the end of the EP?
So that song basically came about after I saw Ween. Every time I've seen Ween, I've like written a song where I'm just like, I want to sound different. And then like, you know, the song comes out, and Ween is like, if you don't know who Ween is, I suggest you check them out. But they're like, you know, Mr. and, you know, fucking play every genre of music under the sun. So it's like it kind of fits with like our original discussion. Like, oh, if you play that live, like, yeah, if you go and see like a Ween show live, they'll play 15 genres of music like over the course of a 3-hour show, and it's like fucking awesome. So, you know, Life of Riley was basically just like, you know, I saw Ween, I was inspired just to like make something out there, you know, compared to our music. And then, you know, kind of like some like Rubber Soul, like Beatles-esque, you know, kind of like jingle, like 60s style, like folk, like pop rock shit going on. Another song, I mean, it's very simple. I mean, it's like 5 chords, and then I was just jamming on it and like fell into it. And I'm like, all right, there's a song, you know what I mean? Like, didn't take a lot of thought going into it. And yeah, for the title, well, Life of Riley, it stands for something which I'm blanking on right now. What does Life of Riley stand for? Because that's pretty much where I got it. It's like an old English term, I believe.
Yeah, let me let's pretend that we both know.
It's like Mr. Songwriter doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Mr. Pro Podcaster.
It's a saying for carefree and comfortable, and it comes. There was like an old 40s television show. But yeah, it basically means like carefree, whatever. And then I had written all the lyrics, and I was like, all right, what should I name this? Like, I don't know what to fucking name it. And then I was just like looking up like, you know, terms and like slang for shit, whatever. And then Life of Riley popped up, and it literally meant carefree. And it's like sitting around the campfire singing that same old song. And it's like, you know, the whole song kind of gives off a carefree vibe, like lyrically, and like just kind of going with the flow. And that's like the essence of the lyrics, is just going with the flow and just like taking it for what it is and moving on, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, that's where Life of Riley, the title, comes from. So
yeah, it's still it's got that nice laid back vibe as well. Like you're sitting there, don't stress, you know, keep going. Certainly a different way to close the EP. But as I said earlier, and I know from our previous conversations, you know, you certainly aren't afraid of stepping outside the box. And I remember in one of our chats, if you look at, I guess to put it under a loose term, stoner music in general, it's so vast because not every stoner band will sound the same. Yeah, you can get some stoner rock bands where you've got like the I guess, the familiar fuzz riffs, the sludginess there. But then they can have another song like the one you like Life of Riley, or as you said with Ween, can play like 15 million genres in one set,
Yeah.
which is an interesting experience. That's what I should put it. So it can be something completely different. I mean, I've even come across just an acoustic band, more or less. I forget the name. Who were like kind of what they call themselves, like stoner alternative rock, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't what you would think, but I thought, dude, there's some really famous bands out there that not every track is like the sludgy fuzz riffs. Don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining. You know, I love that stuff as well. But they do things different too. I talked with oh man, he'll kill me. I've forgotten the name. He's from Portland, and it was
Lumber Never.
Yeah. You
Aaron,
sent me
I sent him to you. He said Portland. I'm like, oh, it's got to be.
See, the most professional podcast in the world forgets who he talks to, forgets who some of the guests have come from. But man, you know, his range, with his wide range, what he does in his music.
Oh yeah, he's all over the place. And he's like constantly releasing records and like working for different projects. And yeah, I mean, what it comes down to, it's ultimately like, you know, we classify as a stoner rock band just because most of the music we write tends to fall under that, you know, umbrella. But in the end, it's not like we don't like sit there and like, all right, we need to write a stoner rock song. It's like, no. We want to write whatever sounds cool to us. And, you know, as you get older, as you experiment more, as you become like a more mature musician, like, you know, more sounds become cool or sound cool to you. So it's like you listen to like our early shit and it's like, it's pretty straightforward stoner rock. But like, you know, as the band's progressed, it's kind of just like, oh, you know, I got really into Fish last week. Let's write a song that sounds like Fish. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool. Like, I like jam bands now. Like, all right, we'll fucking incorporate that into it because, you know, it's fun. It keeps it fun and interesting, you know?
Yeah. I think some folks can forget sometimes that a lot of the musicians will like other music as well that can be vastly different. I did a show with a brutal death band called Blood Red Throne, and one of the dudes in that band, we're due to come back on actually at some point, he plays in a blues band outside of his brutal death band, so people would never expect that. But sometimes people that just want to play another kind of music, or they like playing different kinds of music just because it keeps it interesting, or always playing the same style.
Or they just like it.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. I mean, like today, for example, I mean, literally like the perfect example, like following off of that, like today we had rehearsal earlier in the morning and we show up and our bass player, he's like playing this Miley Cyrus line on bass, and he's like, this is the sickest bass riff ever. Like, I was just playing along to Miley Cyrus for like 2 hours last night. Like, it's awesome. And he's like, yeah, I have this whole playlist of like radio, like top 100 like pop songs. And he's like, I fucking love grooving to all these bass lines because they're actually like so like tasty and like shit. Like, so I'm just like, it's like. And one of his favorite artists is John Mayer, you know? Yeah.
Oh, it's legendary stuff. And that's like roots music of all of this, of metal, rock and everything. It all comes from there. And it's funny when I've seen all those covers of like pop songs by metal and rock bands, they do a far better version. Probably people out there saying, well, that's not exactly how to do, but yeah, they do a much better version. It just shows you how those songs just sound so much better. Played by people that actually can play real.
Well, you know, but I mean, regardless, what it comes down to is like everyone likes, you know, it just because you play rock music doesn't mean rock music is even your favorite genre, you know?
True, yeah.
It's just what you play, what you enjoy, whatever, and then there's a time and place for everything. But what makes Stone Eye unique, I guess, is like, you know, what other rock or hard, maybe like not rock bands, because I feel like rock bands can be kind of versatile, but maybe like more metal bands, like, you know, you're not going to see a metal band playing like a fucking folk song. But, like, I guess what makes Stone Eye unique is, like, you know, like, we're just like, oh, we'll play a metal song, and then we'll play, like, a folk song right after it. And we're like, we don't give a fuck, you know? And then we'll put out a fucking music video about poop. Like, we don't give a fuck, you know?
That's going to be such a good conversation starter for me tomorrow, dude, when I talk to some of my buddies, and I'm like, oh, yeah, the Stone Eye come back on the show. Great Dude's a great dude. Definitely want to check them out. Oh, what you were talking about then, guys? I'm like, poop. So could a video about poop.
Yeah, poop.
Yeah, and they'd be like, yeah, were you both stoned at the time? So, no, actually not. But yeah, it's something different. I mean, I always say this to people. Yeah, I'm very much a death metal hardcore guy, but it doesn't mean, I like all my doom and stuff as well. It doesn't mean I don't like other music. I mean, that is like my base, my favorite,
Yeah.
but there's other music I like. I tend to, I'm going to admit it, and then again, each of their own. I tend to do stay away from pop music. That's a little bit too painful for my ears. But as I said, when I've heard bands do metal covers of it or rock covers, and those songs have been much more palatable for me to listen to. So other thing, I want to get the word out about this as well, man. I know you've got a show coming up on the 2nd of Feb, playing it, I'm going to butcher the name, Aegis, I think.
So Aegis, formerly known as the Age of Truth. Yes.
And Hex Engine, that's a cool name.
Yep.
Double Planet.
Yep.
And that's going to be at the Moose Lodge. So is this I think you've done a few shows before that. I was just wondering, is this your first show of the new year, or have you done some before?
Yeah, so this is the first show of the new year. First show of the new year. It's going to be fun. Looking forward to it. Always love playing in Westchester. We got a lot of buddies that live out that way, so tend to have decent crowds and good times. And actually, we're working on a new song right now that we pretty much have finished. Yeah, and we finished it. Actually today. At least instrumentally, it's finished. Lyrically, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do with it. But I have a week. I have a week to figure that out. But yeah, we finished a new song today. It's pretty cool. It's actually probably like one of our heaviest songs, maybe the heaviest song we've written. So it's kind of cool.
Interesting. Oh yeah, look forward to hearing that.
Yeah, I mean, probably record it within the next 3-4 months. But it's like very almost hardcore-y, like Helmet, kind of Helmet meets hardcore meets I don't know, but it's just very heavy. That's all I can say.
Oh, I'm curious. You've got me really curious, man. I love that answer as well. I don't know what the F this is going to be about yet lyrically.
I don't fucking know.
Such a genuine answer. That was awesome too. See, the stoner element is always there, regardless of the genre you're playing.
Trust me. Oh, trust me. I mean, lyrically, it's probably going to be nothing. It's probably going to be ad-libbed, if I got to be honest. Yeah. And then melody is what I'm more concerned about. Because I'm like, all right, if I just we're playing a dive bar, right? So it's no one can really hear you anyway. Half the people are drunk. So it's I just need to make it sound like I'm saying something, but have the sounds sound good, I could be singing about fucking Moose Dong, and it's I don't fucking care. You can't even hear it,
I remember it being at this show, man. You've just remember his one from the memoirs was at this show one time. And this dude, halfway through, clearly was off his face, was completely drunk. And it was almost as if he'd got out of a cardboard box with this can of lager in his hand, or can of beer,
Yeah.
And he just started shouting really loudly, "Where am I?" And I'm putting it politely. And he just kept repeating. The thing is, his voice was louder than the guy who was singing on stage. And it was one of the funniest things, is this dude randomly walking around who must have just decided to wake up. And I thought, nobody noticed that there was somebody squatting in the venue. Oh man, that was a crazy one for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So you've just mentioned there that you're working on a new song. So is this going to be, I'm guessing, one of the next new singles that will eventually make it on another EP?
Realistically, yeah. I mean, we have 2 songs. So we have this song we just finished, which is all right, we're done. Then we have another song that we're working on that's probably going to be in that same all right, it's done discussion with the next couple weeks. In regards to how we release it, too early to tell. I mean, might be an EP, might go back to doing albums, might just be singles. I don't know. It's kind of just to see where things go and how we feel, kind of thing. But
so Are you going to do a follow-up video to the poop video? Is the the next one maybe going to be about urine or something? Urinal Studios.
Honestly, if you want a completely genuine answer, it's probably going to have nothing to do with anything. Like this, and it's going to be so dumb. It has nothing to do with the follow-up. Yeah, it could be like our most deep, sincere video ever. I don't know. Like we're very much on the go with the flow, like kind of just see what happens. Band where like people might be like, well, you must have been thinking about like that, how it connects to this. And it's like, I don't fucking know.
Yeah, it's just literally whatever comes into mind at that moment, that's what we'll go with. So when literally you could see anything, folks.
Yeah, and that's that's the beauty of art. You have people that like write out fucking trilogies for shit and are like so calculated, and they have other people that just like shit out words onto a piece of paper, and like that in and of itself is like its own like beauty.
Oh, yeah, it is. I always envy those people that can write non-stop like a machine and never get burnt out. They never hit those creative blocks where they can't seem to write or like what they're writing. It's like, no, I can just do it non-stop, because I'm like, sometimes, man, I just get those creative blocks.
Oh, I do too all the time. But like, I mean, what it comes down to, it's all about, just pushing yourself forward or like finding new sources of inspiration, and I consider that always to be a part of like the whole writing creative process. So like, I never really think of it as like a writer's block. I feel like it's just like the natural progression,
Good way to put it. Yeah.
It's just natural, It's like, you'll find inspiration from here, and then you'll fucking drain the well, and then you just kind of have to wait and see where you draw from next. And it always comes, you know what I mean? It might take longer, the next time, but it's, I guess it's a creative block, but that's just the way of wording it. When in reality, it's just like you're kind of, going through the process like normal, just might take longer,
Yeah. Good advice there. One thing I do want to ask you about as well. I remember last time we talked, you were doing a show, I think, where there was a motocross event happening, if I remember correctly. How did that go, man?
It was fucking awesome.
I bet it was. Motocross is sick.
Oh, dude, it was so cool. We were like set up, like basically they brought in this like fucking like this truck bed. They set up on the truck bed, and they had like this professional lighting company. So they like made a stage on a truck bed, and it was like fucking like flashy lights as hell and like crazy, and the sound was fantastic too. It was actually our sound guy and production guy that day. He's the guy that is the sound guy for that Star Wars like metal band.
Oh yeah, I've seen them.
They just toured Europe.
Yeah.
So he was actually their sound guy for that tour. So I mean, he's talented as fuck, and sound was fantastic. The lights were awesome. And like we set up like right above like one of these like motocross, it was like this big park with a couple tracks, and we set up above one of the tracks. We actually set up like right by this big ass turn that was like almost like the riders were like 60 degrees like over, because it was like on a hill. Wow. And we actually were like playing like while they were racing. Whoa. And it was like fucking sick. Yeah, they're going off of jumps and like fucking revving their engines and like shooting across.
Sick.
It was like playing like fucking like Road Rage and like Genesis or whatever. The motorcycle game. Yeah. That's like what it was. Like we were like the fucking like soundtrack to that. So like during like sound check, like they were still racing. We started like playing like fucking Gardenia by like Caius, and we're just like and the fucking like fucking bikes are zooming like by and going off of jumps like 15 feet in front of our faces. I'm like, this is so fucking sick.
That must have been, man. That's a memory for sure. I'd absolutely love that.
Amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah, such an experience. I've seen some bands before when they've played like skater events, and you've got the skaters in the
they like
and that's always been cool. Yeah, they set up their half pipes and stuff. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing I've always liked. Sometimes I haven't done it for a while that I know of, but in the X Games, both Winter and Summer X, and sometimes have bands play when the snowboarders come out or whatever, and I've always thought, man, that's so cool. And I know they have like the before and after parties there where someone does play, a band will play, entertain the crowd. But I think to do that while there's riders racing, man, I think that would be the adrenaline rush that you must have got, not just from playing regular, because you'll have that natural adrenaline anyway.
Yeah.
But when you're getting that from the riders as well, it's like that's like amping it up to another level, man.
Oh yeah, it's like you're in a fucking movie.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
totally.
Oh, it was insane. Like, I mean, it was definitely one of the coolest like gigs we've ever played. And also, like, we had to play for like 3 hours, but we only had like an hour and a half of material. So like we were just like fucking like jamming, you know, for like half of it. But you know, we like finished the song and then just like fucking go into like an unrehearsed jam and just be like fucking shredding. Well, like, you know, these fucking like motocross vehicles are like racing around. We're just like fucking shredding. It was really cool.
Oh man, that's awesome. So do you have any other shows confirmed yet, or just this one coming up for now?
Yeah, so we're playing February 3rd.
Yeah.
We're playing down in Frederick, Maryland, at a place called Cafe Nola. March 9th, we are playing in Reading, Pennsylvania.
Nice.
With a band from Boston called Some Drifter. We're trying to hook up a show in like the greater New York City area for March 8th, but we're unsure about that. Nothing has came of it yet. With the same band, Some Drifter from Boston. And then we're playing in Swarthmore, Pennsylvania, March 30th at a place called Warehouse. So those are like our like in stone, like, you know, book shows as of now.
Yeah, as well. It got a good base to go on, man. It's quite a busy start, which is always cool. So I just wondered as well, do you have any more videos coming to support any of I know you've already dropped videos for, you know, a lot of these songs in EP. I just wonder if you have it, if you guess another, like a part 2, an alternative video to one of the songs.
Nah.
I can't help as I'm saying this, keep thinking of Devil's Hook.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'll draw inspiration from this interview for our next video, but no, we don't have anything planned for the EP. I mean, we'll probably do a video when our next song comes out, but we don't have anything planned for now. We're just kind of like, all right, get the videos done with. Let's start writing music, you know?
Yeah. Dude, that's
I like doing videos, but like, I love writing music. That's the most fun to me. So it's kind of just like, I'm just kind of like, all right, we'll put a video up, but like, you know, that's fun, I guess. But like, I'd rather have more time actually, you know, playing and writing. So like right now, that's where we are, like playing and writing. You know?
Dude, I know I've said it already during our conversation today, but that video and the whole concept behind it now is going to stay with me, probably not just for the whole night, for the remainder of the week. I'll be talking about that, and then next time we talk, I'll be last time it was poop. This time it's
shit. Poop and shit. What's up with that?
One of the most unconventional forms of art, I guess, that we talked about for a while, but no, actually fairly normal compared to some of the concepts that come up with some of the death bands and stuff.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, we just like having fun, having a laugh.
Man, it's hilarious, dude, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
It's just a bit of fun, man. It's comedy. That's what I always say to people. If they take anything out wrongly, I say, look, it's just eccentric human, man. It's, you know, that's all it is. There's no malice in it whatsoever. So just before we wrap things up, I wondered, do you have any other merchandise coming? I know you've got a great deal already. I just wondered if there's anything else coming.
Nothing planned right now. But knowing me, if I have an idea,
it'll be on there.
It'll be on there. Yeah, I mean, I can't give really a timeline for now. Like, I haven't thought about that. But, you know, if I'm sitting, you know, at home one day and I'm just like, I have an idea. Yeah. It'll probably be up there within 24 hours. Yeah. I just don't know when that'll be.
There you go, man. There you go. Yeah. Well, man, honestly, it's been great fun. This has certainly been one of the most stoner of our conversations so far.
Oh, yeah.
That really is. God knows what the next one's going to be like, but
even worse.
Yeah, probably. But anyway, man, it's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Always
really
a pleasure.
Isn't it, what you're doing, and you know, you're welcome on here. Well, hopefully the other channel will be okay
on the right channel.
Yeah. Remembering to stream it on the correct channel. So to the people over at Mosh Shinobi, yes, I did forget to stream it on the other channel. But in all fairness, I did say today I would be doing 2 interviews on here with 2 bands because I've had some problems with the other channel, and that's a disclaimer I'm going with. So that's why that happened. Yay, that's how I'm covering myself. Someone says, "Oh, where's the ninjas today?" Say,
Hey,
don't
buddy.
worry.
Hey, buddy. Time to broaden your horizons. All right.
Yeah,
Come on,
the ninjas will be coming. American Ninja 3 will be dropping very, very soon. My little retrospective on that. So that's coming. Don't worry, folks. So I want to thank everybody who's watched live or watches later. Don't forget to subscribe to all the channels at Mosh Shinobi, at Hardcore Noise, where we'll be doing the music interviews in the future. Stephen's channel as well at The Stone Eye. All the links for all of this will be in the description as always. Don't forget to, got to do a quick shout for this. Don't forget to go to the Bandcamp as well. And if you buy anything from the Bandcamp, it goes direct to the artist. So that helps fund future music. So don't forget thestoneye.bandcamp.com. So once again, man, thanks for coming on. I'm going to do the time tradition of hit end stream where I look like I'm constipated for a few seconds whilst I'm looking like that as it stopped. So,
come on.
yeah, it needs to go. Okay, folks, I shall see you on the next episode. Either here at Mosh Shinobi or at Hardcore Noise. I'll be on one of them. Don't know which.
There,
Everywhere, yeah. All right,
Okay,
peace
Paul.
out.